Hello, welcome to the Maths Matrix and part 3 of this fractions series. My name's Rebecca and in this video we'll be doing multiplying and dividing with fractions. If you haven't yet watched cancelling down fractions or adding and subtracting with fractions, then I suggest you go and do those first before coming back to this video. Assuming that you have watched the cancelling down video and the adding and subtracting with fractions video, we'll continue on with our notes. So if you put a subtitle of multiplying with fractions, and then put to multiply two fractions times along the top, times along the bottom, and cancel if necessary. And in case you don't know, that's how you spell necessary. Never eat cake, eat salad sandwiches and remain young. We got taught that at school, so that's how you spell necessary and you'll always know now. And that one sentence that we've just written tells you all you need to know about multiplying fractions. So if you're quite close to your exams and you're at the stage where you're making revision cards, flashcards, then you can just put that one sentence on a flashcard and that tells you all you need to know really about how to multiply two fractions. So let's do some examples. So if we put e.g. 3/4 times 5/12. So if you pop that down, and then this is the one that everyone likes because it is exactly as you expect it to be. You just times the top numbers together, times the bottom numbers together. And then in this case, that fraction will cancel because each of those will divide by 3. So I'll divide the top by 3 and I'll divide the bottom by 3 to give me 5/16, which would be my final answer there. In case you're wondering how I knew so quickly that that divides by 3, I applied the digits test that I talked about in my prime factors video. So 4 plus 8 makes 12 and 12 does divide by 3. Therefore, I know that 48 had to divide by 3 as well. So if we do another one, let's have 2/9 times 4/5. 2 4s are 8, 9 5s are 45, and that won't cancel, so that's the final answer. So multiplying fractions is super simple. It's what everybody expects it to be. You just times the tops, times the bottoms, and if you can cancel, you do cancel. That is all there is to multiplying with fractions. The only way it would get worse is if the numbers involved were bigger and you perhaps didn't know the answers in your head. In that case, you'd do long multiplication off to one side. But if you're asked to multiply fractions, that is always what you do. Following on from those examples, just put note. In maths, of means times. So if you are asked to find a fraction of a fraction, you are really being asked to multiply the two fractions. And then put e.g. find 3/11 of 2/5. So if you're asked to find a fraction of a fraction, all you do is you replace the of with a multiply, because in maths, of means times. 3 times 2 is 6. 11 times 5 is 55. And that would be the final answer. You don't often see that on exams, so I can't tell you it's definitely going to come up. In fact, it probably won't, but just occasionally it does come up, and because it's so occasional, people often haven't been told it and therefore they don't know what to do. So it's just a little thing to have there in your notes, that of means times. So if you're asked to find fractions of fractions, you just multiply them together and then it's just done exactly as normal. So that's multiplying with fractions, and because it's so easy, I'm not even going to give you any to practice at this stage. We'll just move straight on to division. So if you now put a subtitle of dividing with fractions, and then put to divide two fractions, change the divide to a times, and flip the second. So again, if you're quite close to your exams and you're making flashcards, that's the sentence to include on a flashcard, because that's your instruction as what you do if you're asked to divide fractions. I strongly recommend that you learn this method, that you remember it, because you are almost always asked somewhere on an exam series to divide with fractions. The reason being, it's the one that people usually forget, so it's the one that they usually test. So let's have a look at how you do that. So if we have e.g., let's have 4/11 divided by 3/5. And then our instruction said change the divide to a times and flip the second, by which I mean turn it upside down. So I've changed my divide sign into a times sign, I've flipped my second fraction upside down, and now the first bit is just going to stay the same, so nothing changes there. And at that point, I've just got to multiply, which is what we've just done. So 4 5s are 20. 11 3s are 33. And so the answer to that is 20/33. I know at some schools they teach you the Kfc method. They tell you to remember this by thinking KFC for keep, flip, change. So if that's how you want to remember it, that's fine as well. I don't really like that way. I prefer thinking change the divide to a times and flip the second, because that's how we were taught it at school, but whatever works. As long as you are changing the divide into a times and you are flipping the second fraction, I don't care how you remember it. Let's have a look at another one. So let's have e.g. 3 divided by 4/9. Now we're going to change the divide to a times, and we're going to turn the second fraction upside down. Now in this case, 3, the whole number 3, you can think of it as being over 1. We don't go around writing whole numbers as being over 1. So if we have the number 5, we don't go around in life writing it as 5/1. We don't go around writing 7 as 7/1. But over means divided by, and 5 divided by 1 is 5, and 7 divided by 1 is 7. So if you have a whole number, you can just change it to over 1 for doing fractions work if you want to. In which case we would then say 3 times 9 is 27 and 1 times 4 is 4. And the answer to that would just be 27 over 4. Don't worry about mixed numbers at this stage. We'll do that in the next video. So that's how you would do it with a whole number, and everything else would be the same. Likewise, if the whole number was on the other side, if we were asked to do something like 2/3 divided by 5, then we would just keep the 2/3 as 2/3, change the divide to a times. Now, if we think as 5 as really being 5 over 1, then when we flip it, it becomes 1 over 5. And times in along the top gives 2, and times in along the bottom gives 15. And that would be our final answer. All right. So that's dividing fractions. So super simple when you know how. Really nice, easy marks on an exam. So I'm always hoping every exam series that there'll be some fractions questions for people to try. I'm going to put the questions. Did I put any questions on screen? So that's multiplying and dividing fractions. And as you can see, it's super simple when you know how. I'm going to put some questions on screen now. Hit pause, have a go at them. When you've tried them, hit play, and then I'll put a second sheet up with all the solutions. And I will see you in the next video where we will be doing mixed numbers and improper fractions. Thank you for watching. Bye.